I got to conserve some energy for when I go on. I'm going to go on about 8 o'clock in the evening. And by then, on this last, I was shattered.
Eric Clapton is an English rock and blues guitarist, singer and songwriter. He is the only 3-time inductee to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, once as a solo artist and separately as a member of the Yardbirds and of Cream. Clapton has been referred to as one of the most important and influential guitarists of all time. Clapton ranks second in Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time, and fourth in Gibson's top 50 guitarists of all time. He was also named number 5 in Time magazine's list of the 10 best electric guitar players in 2009. In 1998, Clapton, a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, founded the Crossroads Center in Antigua, a medical facility for recovering substance abusers.
We did a jam at the end of this last one, where there were 25 guitar players on stage, all doing the same thing, and it was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was the only.
Probably 20 too many.
Well, it's just the same. Where do you start pulling people out?
Yeah.
His full name is Eric Patrick Clapton, CBE, also known as God and Slow Hand. As of this production, he is 75 years old and was born on March 30th, 1945, in Ripley, Surrey, England. He stands at 1.77 meters tall, or 5 feet 10 inches. Since the 1980s, one of Eric Clapton's favourite hobbies has been fly fishing. He has even been featured on BBC television sports programmes on fly fishing. In recent years, he has taken up shooting, a traditional English country pursuit. In the late 1970s, Eric Clapton was an enthusiastic supporter of the West Bromwich Albion Football Club, aka the Baggies. His team scarf can be seen draped over the couch of the back cover of his album Backless from 1978. Eric is a long-time collector of sports cars and is an avid follower of Formula 1 racing. In more recent years, he has begun collecting custom American hot rods. He is an avid art collector, particularly favouring modern and street art. He also collects wristwatches by Rolex, Patek Philippe and others, and is a lover of racing bicycles and antique US Western-style belt buckles. And let's not forget his well-known acoustic and electric guitar collection. Eric Clapton married Pattie Boyd in 1979, but their marriage was marred by his infidelities and domestic violence. In an interview with the Sunday Times, Clapton admitted that he was abusive to Boyd when he was a full-blown alcoholic. In 1984, while recording Behind the Sun, Clapton began a relationship with Yvonne Kelly, the manager of Air Studios Montserrat. Although both were married to other partners at the time, they had a daughter in January 1985. She was named Ruth Kelly Clapton, but her existence was kept from the public until the media realised she was his child in 1991. Eric Clapton and his wife Pattie Boyd tried unsuccessfully to have children, even trying in vitro fertilisation in 1984, but were faced instead with miscarriages. They divorced in 1988 following his affair with Italian model Lori Del Santo, who gave birth to their son Connor on August 21st, 1986. Tragically, Connor died on March 20th, 1991 at the age of 4 after falling out an open bedroom window on the 53rd floor of a Manhattan apartment building. In 1998, Clapton, then 53, met 22-year-old administrative assistant Melania McEnery in Columbus, Ohio, at a party given for him after a performance. He quietly dated her for a year and went public with the relationship in 1999. They married on January 1, 2002 at St. Mary Magdalene Church in Clapton's birthplace, Ripley. They have 3 daughters, Julie Rose, born on June 13, 2001, Ella May, born on January 14, 2003, and Sophie Bell, born on February 1, 2005. His grandson, Isaac Eric Owen Bartlett, was born on June 2013 to his oldest daughter Ruth and her husband Dean Bartlett.
To know that I'm going to go on later in the evening after all these fantastic players have already had their say, it overcomes the nerves, really.
Clapton was born on March 30th, 1945 in Ripley, Surrey, England, to 16-year-old Patricia Molly Clapton and Edward Walter Fryer, a 25-year-old soldier from Montreal, Quebec. Clapton received an acoustic Hoyer guitar made in Germany for his 13th birthday, but the inexpensive steel-stringed instrument was difficult to play and he briefly lost interest. 2 years later, Clapton picked it up again and started playing consistently. Clapton was influenced by the blues from an early age and practiced long hours to learn the chords of blues music by playing along to the records. He preserved his practice sessions using a portable Grundig reel-to-reel tape recorder, listening to them over and over until he felt he'd got it right. In 1961, after leaving Holyfield School in Surbiton, Clapton studied at the Kingston College of Arts but was dismissed at the end of the academic year because his focus remained on music rather than art. His guitar playing was so advanced that by the age of 16, he was getting noticed. Around this time, Clapton began busking around Kingston, Richmond, and the West End. In 1962, Clapton started performing as a duo with the fellow blues enthusiast David Brock in pubs around Surrey. When he was 17 years old, Clapton joined his first band, an early British R&B group, The Roosters, whose other guitarist was Tom McGuinness. He stayed with this band from January until August 1963. In October of that year, Clapton did a 7-gig stint with Casey Jones and the Engineers. He joined the famous group The Yardbirds for a short time, and in the mid-1960s, Clapton left the Yardbirds to play with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. Immediately after leaving Mayall, Clapton formed the power trio Cream with drummer Ginger Baker and bassist Jack Bruce, in which Clapton played sustained blues improvisations and arty, blues-based psychedelic pop. Cream would eventually be hailed as one of the greatest rock groups of its day. Clapton first visited the United States while touring with Cream in 1967, but the group was short-lived due to conflicts between its members and the use of drugs and alcohol. Cream disbanded in 1968. After Cream broke up, he formed blues rock band Blind Faith with Baker, Steve Winwood, and Rick Gregg. Clapton's solo career began in the 1970s, where his work bore the influence of the mellow style of J.J. Cale and the reggae of Bob Marley. His version of Marley's I Shot the Sheriff helped reggae reach a mass market. Two of his most popular recordings were Layla, recorded with Derek and the Dominoes, and Robert Johnson's Crossroads, recorded with Cream. Following the death of his son Connor in 1991, Clapton's grief was expressed in the song Tears in Heaven, which appeared on his Unplugged album. Clapton has been the recipient of 18 Grammy Awards and the Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music. In 2004, he was awarded a CBE at Buckingham Palace for services to music. He has received 4 Ivor Novello Awards from the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors, including a Lifetime Achievement Award. In his solo career, Clapton has sold more than 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling musicians of all time. Clapton is the only person to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 3 times, once as a solo artist and twice as the member of the bands Cream and the Yardbirds. In addition to being one of the world's richest rock stars, Eric Clapton is also apparently one of the world's savviest modern art collectors. Clapton, who already has a 9-figure net worth, got more than $30 million richer in 2012 after completing an extremely competitive auction of several paintings from his personal art collection. One painting in particular, by German painter Gerhard Richter, sold for more than twice its listing price after a heated bidding war between several anonymous wealthy art fans. It also set the record for the most amount ever paid for a piece by a living artist. Eric Clapton's net worth is $300 million. Eric Clapton has a house in England, a house in France, a house in Columbus, and a house in Antigua. He also has a place in the woods in Jerome. He has called his Province Manor in France his home away from home since 2001, worth around $3.22 million. The grounds include rolling lawns, a heated swimming pool, a tennis court, a bowls pitch, a lavender field, while the main house is made up of 10 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms and airy, vaulted common spaces. There's even a spacious 2-bedroom annex that can house visiting family and friends. It turns out Eric Clapton has a thing for Ferraris. He owns a Ferrari Lusso 250. He owns his very own custom Clapton Ferrari. And a 1968 Ferrari Dino 206 GT.